Today is August the 12th. Can I judge others? Let's find out together as we study Luke chapter 6. So in both the Sermon on the Mount and in the Sermon on the Plain, Jesus says, don't judge others. Matthew chapter 7, verse 1 says simply, don't judge others, you'll not be judged. In Luke's account of Jesus' Sermon on the Plain, Luke chapter 6, verse 37, we're going to read an extended passage and look at the depth of thought that Jesus put into this concept of not judging others. Don't judge others and you'll not be judged. Don't condemn others, or it will all come back against you. Forgive others, and you'll be forgiven. Give, and you'll receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over, poured out into your lap. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. Then Jesus gave the following illustration. Can one blind person lead another? Won't they both fall into a ditch? Students are not greater than their teacher, but the students who is fully trained will become like the teacher. And why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a log in your own? How can you think of saying, friend, let me help you get rid of that speck in your eye when you can't see past the log in your own eye? Hypocrite, first get rid of the log in your own eye, then you'll see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. It's interesting what Jesus says here about judging. Now, in the Gospels, he talks about judgment quite a bit, but it's always God who judges. Here in the Sermon on the Mount and in the Sermon on the Plain, he turns to what happens when we try to judge each other. And he says, don't do it. Now the word judge occurs 115 times in the New Testament. Frequently, it's God who judges us. But not only here, but even in the book of Romans, we're told not to judge each other. Romans chapter 2, verse 1. You may think you can condemn such people, but you're just as bad. You have no excuse when you say they're wicked and should be punished. You're condemning yourself, for you who judge others do the very same things. Romans chapter 14, verses 1 to 4. Accept other believers who are weak in the faith. Don't argue with them about what they think is right or wrong. For instance, if one person believes it's all right to eat anything, but another believer with a sensitive conscience will eat only vegetables. Those who feel free to eat anything must not look down on those who don't. Those who don't eat certain foods must not condemn those who do, for God has accepted them. Who are you to condemn someone else's servants? Their own master will judge whether they stand or fall. With the Lord's help, they'll stand and receive his approval. Then in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, we're told in verse 15, you're reasonable people. Decide for yourselves if what I'm saying is true. That's New Living Translation. Some of the older versions simply say, judge for yourself whether what I say is true. In chapter 11, verse 13, judge for yourselves. Is it right for a woman to pray to God in public without covering her head? In these two passages, Paul says, judge for yourself. We are to judge what we believe, or even to look at ourselves and judge ourselves. But we are not to judge other people. Instead, with other people, we are to accept them. Judgment carries with it the connotation of condemnation. Judging in the New Testament means also condemning. We are not to do that with others. Instead, we are to accept others. Paul says in the book of Romans, if one is a vegetarian and the other eats meat, you're not to condemn each other. You're to accept what the other does. You are not to judge the other person. So, can I judge others? No. Not if you want to be like Jesus. Don't judge. Instead, accept. So my question for you today, do I judge those who disagree with me? Or do I accept that they have a different opinion and accept them as a person in an effort to show them Jesus' love? Like, follow, and subscribe on whatever platform you use to listen to this devotional. Email your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. Tomorrow, we'll ask the question, how do I learn to follow Jesus?